The start of the 23 TM Light season sees a lot of new faces and a lot of new cars. More specifically, 3 new manufacturers as Lennard, Tremwell, and Gessler have joined Bolden to form 42 cars on this field for the first race of the season. Taking out the Delano Pole Award for this race is Brandon LaRoe in car number 33, the Afterburner Motorsports team having a bit of success so far this season, as Kostas Theodorakis in car number 3, though, will not have any success as his car had a fire in the back of it on the pace lap, and he dropped out before the green flag even came out. As you see, Brandon LaRoe leads the field to the green. That's Claire Aussier on the outside in car number 11, and one of the Gesslers, Dan Richards, in the 133. EV Racing Lennard has a look on the inside. As you see, Buffy Boreana is in the 24. Coming forward a little bit as Aussier drops back. That's Robert Blake in the 7 car, and that car right behind him is Mariano Zavala of Venezuela. Now, as we coming down the back straightaway, Dan Richards holds the lead. Some of his Lennard connections got him that drive. Of course, he is last year's ASCC champion. As Boreanas has a look on the row. Boreanas in car number 24 had a very, very messy season in 2012. I think she's wanting to correct some of that. She's gotten off to a pretty good start so far, I would have to say. That blue and black car behind Boreanas is Jacob Card, who lost his ride at EV Racing, and he joined the Rick Milligan team kind of the last minute, as Boreanas now has a look for the lead, trying to get around Dan Richards, who's been doing a pretty good job, I must say, this weekend, and he's really turned a lot of heads. He won the Arla finale, and he's, whoa, maybe a little bit of tag there with Brandon LaRoe. A bit early for that, I think. Going a bit further back in the field, Takumi Nagata returns to the series in car number 64. That is Darren Cardell in the 87 and Lane Cranston in the 14 car. Nagata's not exactly been on the pace this week. Looking at Thurston Blood, the 2011 TM Lights champion. In car number 16, he's lurking a bit further back in the field. There's Scott Washington in the 0 car, a bit of a last-minute driver choice for the Alex Harrison bunch. Looking off the back of Boreanas' car, and you can bet she's enjoying this sight. The rest of the field, 3 and 4 wide, means that Boreanas is going to get to enjoy that lead for a little bit. Looking, looks like that's Ashley Tucker in the Lynx car there. Here is Ashley Tucker. Of course, she was running in the Arla Elite Series. Oh, Jacob Card, big push in the 15 car. Almost wipes out half the field there. Oh boy, they gotta bring that car into the pits and get it worked on there. That's Daniel Melrose I see back there. But anyways, Ashley Tucker ran the Arla Elite Series, is off to a good start with her new team in that Gessler. Here's Daniel Melrose. Big name here. Several Formula A wins to his name. He gave Peter Short quite a few headaches in that series. He's taking his run here in TM Lights with his own team that's based in Germany, believe it or not. Here is Jacob Card now in that 15 car. He has a lot of push in that car, but that's not stopping him from going for the lead. Jacob Card being very, very aggressive here with his first run out in the Rick Milligan team. A ride he didn't even know he had until 5 days before opening practice. So here's Matt Brinson in car number 25. That sort of royal blue and pink car. Brinson is with his own team, and there's a lot of very clever engineers on that squad, the Brinson Engineering 25 team. So I think we'll be seeing some pretty strong pace from them on the short ovals, maybe. They've been fairly quick all throughout practice, but looks like in the race so far they've not exactly stepped it up. We'll have to just wait and see what they can do as the night progresses. Here's Claire Aussier in car number 11, who caused a couple rather big crashes last season. She's looking to clean her act up, especially because Lynx has had enough faith in Aussier to give her a couple of Master Cup runs, we believe, later this season. Aussier did win at Darlington last year, remember, though. And Mike Andrews in the 51 car. Contact with James Davison in the 29. Oh, look out. He's trying to slow it down. He just gets it slowed down, but he runs out of racetrack, and that could have been a huge crash. Mike Andrews in the 51 car can count himself lucky. No sponsor in that car this year. They're trying to raise a fair bit of money, but just they're still able to come and race, though. That's the good thing. And now, Buffy Boreanas and Dan Richards still battling for the lead there. In the 133 car, Dan Richards giving EV Racing a strong run. They didn't have too many of those last year with Jacob Card. However, they were sort of robbed of the win at Quincy. Richards, his Lennard backing may have landed in this ride, and, well, as you can see, some other cars coming forward, most notably Jacob Card, who drove that car last year, as I think I've mentioned already a couple of times. I can see Robert Blake in the 7 back there. That's a pretty distinctive black and green car, but Richards holding his own out front. Darren Cardell in car 87 is Daniel Melrose's teammate, a touring car driver from Europe. He's got a pretty rich C vehicle. Oh, he's around, and around goes Cardell. That's Calvin O'Reilly got into him. And I believe Paul Lyons got in that as well. So we're going to have to wait and see what happened there. But, well, actually, I don't think it takes much to work out what happened. Robert Blake in the 7 just kind of jacked the 87 car up. We're on board with Paul Lyons, who's driving the under construction car number 2 for Black Diamond Racing this year. And around goes the 87, hits the 67 of a railer, and into the wreck goes Paul Lyons, who really didn't exactly have a whole lot of options there, I have to say. Lyons, kind of an innocent victim. He was waiting just to get his chance to run through the field, and, well, just his luck ran out rather early on, it seems. Lyons and O'Reilly out of the race. Here is Dan Richards leading on the restart. Takuma Nagata in that blue 64. Well, he's the last car in the lead lap. He hasn't exactly been on the pace, and he might be getting in the way here a bit. As Darren Cardell, he's got some damage in that car, but he's holding his line. Mike Andrews, he's got some damage, but it looks like they fixed that. And Ausier going for the lead in the 11 car. That 51 car is not exactly picking a lane, it seems. Here is Dexter Hamlet in the 54. This was probably one of the kings of crash last year, but he seems to have cleaned his act up in a hurry because he's running at the front of the field, which is a bit of a surprise, and we got 5 wide behind him and 1 car on the apron. Here is the 07 car of Bob Steffens this year. That's Axel Andersson in the 4 behind him. That is Jacob Eicholtz on the apron, as Yafale Animiya in the wall in the 426 car. So a lot of new cars in this shot. There's the 98 car on the outside. That's Bobby Dollar. He moved over to Black Diamond Racing to start a third team there. Jacob Eicholtz in the 31 had a puncture apparently, and that other car you saw in the pit lane was Vijay Puchand in the 18. Swedish driver Axel Andersson moves over to Leonid Roderick's team to drive the number 4 car. That's a kind of distinctive car. There's a lot of blue cars in the field, but, well, this blue and yellow car should be fairly easy to pick apart from the rest of them. Here is James Jones in car number 1. He is carrying the number 1 because that team won the championship last year. The driver didn't. James Jones is a rookie from Australia. He's got a lot of success in Australia in these kinds of cars, but we'll have to see what he's able to do. Looks like he's handling himself pretty well. Here is Takumi Nagata in the 64, not exactly being the best of back markers. At 71 car is Han Young-sung. He is the first Korean driver to run in this series. We're riding on board with Cameron Taylor in the middle of this pack as Takumi Nagata in the 64. Oh, he's going up. Oh, Nagata's in the wall. The 38 is Gerald Johnson there. I'm going to have to introduce you to some of these new drivers as they kind of come into frame there. The 61 car you saw on the inside is Brooke Ingverson. Here is car number 33 of Brandon LaRobe, and he is holding the lead with the 54 of Hamlet in second. They've pulled out a rather big lead, as you can see right there, over the rest of the pack. Leah Cerrone, the third of the Lynx cars, comes into the pits. This is the former team, the former Gutierrez team. In fact, a lot of those mechanics still working with on that team. Here is Daniel Melrose, car number 73, coming into turn 1. And the 61 of Ingverson pushes up the track, and Ingverson just ran over Daniel Melrose. I don't really know what that was all about. That's not like Brooke Ingverson to do that, and she did apologize over the radio, but that was still very ambitious, and as you can tell, they're going to be looking at that one later, and I would not be at all surprised if we saw Brooke Ingverson start from the back of the field for the second race of the season. Carbondale as Dexter Hamlet leads the field, coming to the green, 1 car on the apron. But Leah Cerrone and Jacob Eicholtz both have fast cars still. That was Thurston Blood on the apron, the 16 car. He's had some problems, it looks like, with that car. Axel Andersson in car number 4, holding his own, but that is Scott Washington in the 0, making it 4 wide, and they're gonna, oh boy, it's gonna be a 1, yes, Scott Washington makes it stick, and they don't wad up all the cars there. Ashley Tucker in car number 12, that's one of the 3 Lynx cars. She has a problem as well, and she's pulling that car off onto the apron, and Ashley Tucker's night goes from pretty good to pretty terrible in a hurry. Here's Nick Azure in car number 46, running on the inside of Thurston Blood and Cameron Taylor. Oh, Push is coming into 1. Oh, he's up the track, and into the wall goes Cameron Taylor and Thurston Blood and Nick Azure. Cameron Taylor lost the championship last year in the final race of the season, but Nick Azure kind of paid for his own mistake there, it looks like. Axel Andersson leads on the restart in car number 4. Leah Cerrone in the 8. The Brazilian driver is the first car 1 lap down. Jacob Eicholtz is the last car in the lead lap in car 31. Takumi Nagata being very aggressive in that blue car on the inside. I wouldn't exactly feel too safe about him doing that. Anyways, As you can see here, Anderson holding on to the lead as Bob Steffens is going to try to take it away from him in car number 07. Anderson is holding his own, though, in that 4 car. Mike Andrews in the 51 not exactly giving him a whole lot of space. That's Han Young-sung coming on the outside in the 71, the Gravity Racing car, owned by TM Master Cup Series driver Patrick Carroll. But Anderson holding on to the lead. He seems to be pretty strong on the outside as we've got trouble in the back straight as Mark Blackwell hooks the lap car of Daniel Melrose, takes 2 of the Lynx cars with him, Alcier and Ashley Tucker. What was Rodriguez doing? Rubbernecking? Anyway, Melrose, the Mad Uncle as they call him, and I don't know, I think the 73 may have just come down the racetrack ever so slightly, and the 22 kind of got into him. The stewards didn't want to investigate this one after the race. Well, anyway, I can't exactly play Melrose's radio communication. There were far too many expletives in there. Anyway, after that yellow came out, Friedrich Jaeger checked up in order to avoid running into the back of Quan Singh, and this happens as Nick Azure, the 46 car's night is over after he kind of had nowhere to go other than to just kind of pile into that. Anyways, on the restart, Anderson still leads. Mike Andrews in the 51 is he moving out of the way to let the leaders go by? That'd be nice of him. Mike Andrews, not exactly one of the courteous drivers out there. As Bob Steffens in the 07 goes for it, he's really trying to get the lead away from Anderson, but the Swedish driver's car has been working on the outside a lot better than everyone else's, I've noticed, because it's been very difficult for some of these other cars to get by him when he runs the high lane. But looks like Steffens is going to have it here, but Anderson in 3 and 4. No, Anderson in the 4 car really holds on to the lead as the 07 car looks like may have had to get out of the throttle because the car was a bit sideways. But Axel Anderson, car number 4, holds on to the lead. Buffy Boreanaz in car 24 is now beginning to hunt him down, and there is the 07 of Steffens right there as well. So this is far from over as Boreanaz finally is going to get a run down to the inside of Anderson, and he's way up in the marbles there. In car number 4, he's pushing it a little too high, it looks like, as Han Young-sung, the Korean, coming in as well in car number 71. Have a run here, as here's Mike Andrews, who is a lap down, but he's meddling with the leaders. Not exactly sure why the officials haven't pulled the blue flags on him to try to get him out of the way, but I don't think Mike Andrews is the kind of person that would listen to those kinds of flags. Anyway, as there is some contact between Archer Harris and Bob Steffens a little bit behind them. Claire Alcier, car number 11, despite being in that earlier incident, is beginning to have a run at the minor points with just under 10 laps to go. As she is now coming in on the inside, and car number... Oh, gets into the back of Matt Brinson, the 25 car. We're actually well under 10 laps to go. Got about less than 5 to go as car number 11 pushes up the racetrack into Yafaliani Mia. Oh, into Gerald Johnson, and we got a big crash coming off into the tri-oval. Matt Brinson involved, and I think Alcier was just trying to be a little too aggressive. And, oh, as you can see right there, the officials have brought the red flag out, which means all the lap cars are going to get pulled off the track. And we've got a 2-lap shootout to avoid this race from ending under caution as Buffy Boreanaz leads on that restart. There's just 2 laps to go. Every single car left on track has been able to get some repairs done. The red flag lasted about 15 minutes. We're going to see what everyone can do here. As Boreanaz gets a good run, that's Joe Olenek in that blue 23 car right there. Olenek with the TARDIS car with a brand new team here. As Anderson in the 4 beginning to fight on the outside. Young-sung, can he pull off the upset with Gravity Racing in his first ever TM Lights race and first race in North America as Boreanaz slips up and Olenek goes by. Joe Olenek in car 23, a winner in the ASCC. And Young-sung going for it in car number 71, giving it everything as Young-sung leads the second to last lap as Mark Blackwell goes around in the background. But no, that's not important right now. We got 1 lap to go in this race. Boreanaz on the outside in the 24. Anderson in the 4 looking on the inside there, but he's got nothing there on Olenek. As the 24, look at the Power Steering Incorporated car going around the outside of Olenek in the 23 car for CTR. Now, it's going to be between Young-sung and Boreanaz coming into 3 and 4. Boreanaz on his bumper. She gets into the Korean driver's rear end, and he slides it, but he holds on tight. And it's going to be a drag race coming into the tri-oval. Han Young-sung in car 71. Buffy Boreanaz looks like she's got the edge. And it's going to be Boreanaz at the line by ever so slight a margin. Less about 0.04 seconds was the margin of victory. As you can see right here, Buffy Boreanaz beating the very fast Korean in his first Master Cup, in his first TM Lights race, excuse me. And here's what happened to Mark Blackwell, as Ike Durbin got in the back of that horrendously colored car driven by Steve Holliday Jr. We didn't mention him at all today, but he ran a very solid race. And here's what happened on the last lap of the race, as Dexter Hamlet got punted by Mariano Zavala in the 45, and Archer Harris in the 79 was the car that got the short end of the stick there. Dexter Hamlet in car 54 was able to bring that car back to the line, and he would finish well down in, 28th, because that car did end up stalling just inches from the line, and that's got to be rather disappointing. But Buffy Boreanaz put on a clinic tonight and took home 65 points for leading the most laps, and, for winning the race, obviously. Han Young-sung, brilliant drive to come home in second in his first ever TM Lights race. We'll wait to see what the Korean driver can do in the future. Joe Olenek third, completing the podium. Anderson, good result there. James Davison made a mad dash from ninth when the green-white checkered is what some people have started to call this sort of red flagging the race with less than 5 laps to go rule. But anyways, Davison comes home with a very solid 5th place. He won at Michigan last year, so he's a proven winner in this series. Quan Singh, great result for the Chinese driver. Brooke Ingverson, 7th. That was a good result, but she may have a penalty incoming after causing that rather ridiculous incident with Melrose earlier on. Jacob Card in the 15 car looked like he was about to wreck about for half of the race, but he still came home with a strong result, as did Bob Steffens in the 07, who had a couple rather sketchy moments. Robert Blake, the rookie, in his first TM Lights race in car number 7 for Black Diamond Racing, comes home on 11th. He actually led the Black Diamond Racing cars home, the other two being Bobby Dollar, who came home 14th, and Paul Lyons, who was one of the first cars out. Leah Cerrone in car number 8 led the Lynx contingent home. Of course, the Lynx women's team, cars 8, 11, and 12, and Black Diamond Racing are the two 3-car teams in the series, the two superpower teams, if you will. Scott Washington, good debut for him. Steve Holliday Jr., a great debut for him as well. And Dan Richards, the ASCC champion, had to come from 27th when the green-white checkered began, all the way up to 20th to take home the final point. We'll see the TM Light Series in action at Carbondale Raceway next. Many of the drivers in the field have backgrounds on short tracks like Carbondale, so that should be a very interesting race to watch.